So we did this. Never thought that this would happen. We bought a... Holy cow, we bought a tractor! Alrighty, so the tractor that we ended up deciding to go with is called the Kubota L2501. I'm gonna go through the basics of why we ended up choosing this particular tractor, pros and cons of the brands and the models that we ended up deciding to go with. We're gonna have lots of videos about this tractor. The first thing that we ended up deciding for this tractor is just the brand of Kubota. Kubota is just a well-known tractor. We also looked at Mahindra. We looked at, I think, called a Chase, and then of course John Deere. So we looked at the Kubota, we looked at John Deere, we looked at New Holland, Mahindra, and then Chase. So we looked at a decent amount of different tractors. The reason why we decided to go with Kubota and John Deere both had 0% financing on their tractors. And what I've looked up, really it was between Kubota and John Deere, and they had the best resale value of any of these tractors. So of course I did look up other brands, but really I also wanted a Kubota. It was exciting. I had a lot of friends here in our town that liked Kubota. They owned Kubota, and nobody said that I can go wrong with a Kubota. So once I decided about the Kubota, it was just between two different dealerships. I was able to save with this particular tractor, the loader, and then the brush hog. I was able to save about $800 by working with two different dealerships and having them bid it out and find the best price. So I was excited about that part. So then, now that I knew that I wanted a Kubota, and I basically found the dealership that I wanted to go with, it was down to which model of Kubota that I wanted to go with. So in this line, I'm sure a lot of y'all ended up, seeing Justin Rhodes got like the big M series. That's really a utility tractor, and that's just too big for us. It just doesn't make sense for us to be able to do that. This was not a sponsored video at all. Like, I'm not paid. I paid full retail price for this tractor. But anyway, the M series is too big for us. We only have 7.5 acres, and I'm even realizing that this tractor is on the edge of too big for our property in terms of the front tires, that if I go a little bit rough, I can tear up some of the grass here, and so I have to really take my turns very slow. But so that would put us between what's called a compact and a subcompact tractor. So really what you have in that line is you have a subcompact, the low end is a BX. And then around the mid-range of a compact tractor, you have the L2501. The L2501 is, in the research that I've done, is that this is the most sold tractor in the United States. In future videos, I'll go over more of the specs that I've learned about this model tractor. This was the tractor that a buddy of mine, I was telling him that I was looking into the BX model, and he's like, man, I really think you ought to look into the L2501. It might be perfect for you in terms of the price and all of the things that you can do with your tractor with this model. The four tractors that I was really looking at was the BX and then the L2501. In the middle between those two, you have the B series, and then you have the LX series. The B and the LX series are a smaller frame chassis, so it actually could be good for a smaller property similar to ours. It didn't have all the power, not necessarily the horsepower, but it had a smaller bucket. You couldn't do as wide. I think you could do a 4-foot implement on the back. So we were able to do 5 foot here. And it just didn't have as much of the oomph that the L series would have. Now, it does have some nicer things on it that now that I know, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. That could have been good. But the price between the L, the LX, and the B series was so close. Like, so if you have those different tractors, what they do is all spread out. But the price, these three are all grouped, and then you have the BX way down here. So there's a big price jump between the BX to the B series, but then the B to the LX to the L are so close in price that, to me, it was a matter of like maybe $600 from the low B series all the way to this one, the L. And then the LX was just right there in the middle. So it just didn't make financial sense to get a tractor that can't pull as much or lift as much as this tractor. for the same price. So this tractor, the L2501, there's nobody is competing with them for this size tractor and this price range. Nobody is able to beat Kubota currently. This is the best tractor for your money at this price point. Y'all, I'm really sorry. As I was wrapping up this video and I started mowing a little bit, I realized that I completely glossed over why we didn't go with the BX model. So please excuse this little insert here. The BX model for us, it just really seemed like it was just a glorified lawnmower. It is the right price. And I wish that they had something that like the B series that was better priced. I think they would sell that thing like crazy and I would have bought it. But the BX, it just is a lawnmower. It's a lawnmower on steroids, don't get me wrong. It can do some things. The lift capacity, the small bucket, the small mower on the back, it was limited. But the number one thing that took us that where we couldn't pull the trigger on the BX was the ground clearance. The ground clearance on the BX model is so low. So our land is 60% wooded, and how much stuff we have to do to be able to clear it using the tractor, we would have gotten caught over and over many times, and it probably could have damaged the underbelly of the tractor because of how many little stumps we have, how like we ended up having all these tree limbs everywhere. I ended up breaking our lawnmower because I was trying to mow back here in our back pasture, and even our front is even worse. I got it stuck so many times. So the ground clearance of the BX model, I really think that's meant for someone who's on more flat land, and if you just need a lift a little bit here and there, then you have that. So for us, the amount of work that we're going to be putting this tractor under, the BX model did not make sense. And honestly, it was my wife, when my wife Kelly said, do not get that little tractor, I was like, all right, sold. All right, so how much did the tractor cost? That's something that a lot of people want to know. I'll say this, it's scary, and I've never bought anything as expensive as this tractor. No, like no joke, I've never bought a car that's more expensive than this tractor. The most expensive car that Kelly or I have ever bought was our Honda Pilot. It was $16,000. This tractor with the base L2501 tractor with the front end lower with the quick attach bucket and with the 5-foot Land Pride brush hog shredder mower on the back was about $22,000. That's a lot of money. There's no joke. It is freaky. So I've never spent anything more than this tractor besides land. Buying property, buying our house and buying our actual land property here, those are the only things that was ever more expensive than this. But the question that we ended up deciding was, is that amount of money worth it for us to get our property to where we want it to be? And can I basically rent this tractor for 2 years and just pay the monthly payments on it and be able to resell it at a decent price as if I were going to be renting it every single time? So let me break that out of what I'm talking about with that. So the research that I've done, that if we have decent hours on this tractor and it's in good shape, like if I maintain it well, if I do all the grease, if I do the regular maintenance on it, the oil change and all that, if I take good care of this and decent hours, that in 2 years time, I can still resell this tractor for about 80% of what I bought it for. So to me, that is an insane resale value. These tractors hold their value so well. I just cannot believe at how well they hold their value. So basically what I'm meaning by that is I tried to find a used tractor. I wanted to save money. I wanted to take the depreciation of buying a brand new tractor, because this is a brand new tractor, and get that depreciated fast and buy a used tractor. Have someone else pay for that depreciation. I couldn't find it. I ended up finding a tractor. I think it had a little bit more horsepower than this. It was a 10-year-old tractor. It had the same front end loader and an older front end loader and brush hog, like all that was aged 10 years old, and it was still $16,000 without any warranty. Like that is crazy. So me being a first-time tractor owner, being able to have a warranty on it, that was a no-brainer because we were able to do the loan on it. So let's talk about the loan now. So Kubota does up to 84 months. I think John Deere did 72 months of 0% interest financing. So basically, if I were to have paid for cash with this, I think I would have saved $1,200. It's not bad, but because I did the financing, I think I still got $700 off. So really, there was only about a $500 difference between me paying it in cash and me financing it. So we were able to finance this for 84 months, 0% interest. Now, we of course are not gonna be taking 84 months to pay this off. And we ended up putting a down payment of $6,000 because that would get our monthly payment under $200. That was just a nice little number that Kelly and I felt good with. And so we were thinking of $5,000, but we needed to put $6,000 down to be able to get it underneath that number. So that way we're already kind of right side up on it because the depreciation is not, this thing is not depreciated $6,000. So if worse comes to worse, if I need to sell it tomorrow, I can still get some of that money back. I was going to depreciate a little bit, but it'll get a lot of that back. That is the thing that it was really a no-brainer. Hopefully we're going to be paying this off within 2 years. We first want to pay off our land because our land actually has, it's an owner finance, so it has, I think, about a 5% or maybe 5 or 6% interest on our property. That is something that we can pay that off and actually save money on the interest. When this one, it doesn't matter if I pay it off or not. I'm only paying the principal. I'm not paying any interest on this. It doesn't matter if I pay it off tomorrow or if I pay it off in the full 84 months, I'm gonna pay the exact same amount. And Kubota and John Deere, I would say as well, is there is no balloon payments. There is no early payoff fee. Now, Mahindra and one other one that I was looking at, their loan was like 5%. They can't compete. 5% on a tractor. That's a crazy amount of interest. That's why I don't understand how John Deere and Kubota can do it. It's just crazy. And then also I asked that one of these tractor dealers, I said, okay, so 5%, it's a little bit cheaper tractor, so you're saving on there. So I said, okay, so what if I want to pay it off early? Is there a fee to that? They said, no, there's no fee to pay it off early. You just have to wait 2 years before you can pay it off. I'm like, then there is a fee. Like I can't pay it off early. You're giving me limits on when I can pay it off. That's not with Kubota at all. You can pay it off anytime you want. Alrighty, y'all, so that is it. That is the brief overview of our Kubota L2501. I never really dreamt of having a tractor on this farm. I just dreamt of having a farm, but now that I'm breaking my back clearing all this land with a chainsaw and dragging stuff all over the place, I'm like, man, I could get this done so much faster if I had a tractor. And I do. Woo!